What if everything you know, your memories, your friends, even this very moment, was just code running inside a computer? It sounds crazy, but some of the greatest minds in science and philosophy believe it might be true. Welcome to the simulation hypothesis, the idea that our universe could be nothing more than an advanced video game. The modern argument was famously proposed by Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom. He argued that one of three things must be true. First, any advanced civilization probably goes extinct before developing the technology for complex simulations. This is the Great Filters theory, a bleak but possible outcome. Second, advanced civilizations might just lose interest. They could have the power, but not the desire, to run simulations of their ancestors. Perhaps they find it unethical or maybe just boring. But the third possibility is where things get strange. If the first two options are false, it means advanced civilizations do create simulations. And not just one or two, but billions of them, each containing trillions of simulated minds. This creates a simple, terrifying statistical problem. For every one base reality, there would be billions of fake ones. So where do you think you are? Statistically, the odds are terrifyingly against us. If advanced simulations are possible, chances are you're already in one. So is there any actual evidence for this mind-bending idea? First, the limits of physics. In our universe, nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Why is there a cosmic speed limit? In a computer simulation, this makes perfect sense. It's a processing speed limit. The computer running the universe can only calculate things so fast. Second, the pixels of the universe. Some physicists suggest that space-time isn't smooth, but granular, made of fundamental, indivisible units. This is exactly how a digital screen works, a limited resolution that only appears smooth from a distance. Could the Planck length be the resolution of our universe's screen? Third, what about glitches? Phenomena like déjà vu, or strange coincidences that feel impossible, could be interpreted as bugs or loading errors in the simulation's code. Of course, our brains are complex and could be creating these feelings. But it's a fun thought. This idea has been famously championed by figures like Elon Musk. He has repeatedly stated that the odds we are not in a simulation are 1 in billions. His logic is simple. Look at the progress of video games. 40 years ago, we had Pong. Now, we have photorealistic 3D simulations that millions of people play simultaneously. What happens in another 1,000 years, or a million? The games will become indistinguishable from reality. Okay, let's say it's true. So what? What does it actually mean for us? First, the question of a creator. If our world is a program, then there must be a programmer. This wouldn't be a god in the traditional sense. It might be a scientist running an experiment, or even a kid in a future civilization playing a game. What about free will? Are our choices truly our own, or are we just following a script? Even in the most advanced games, characters have the illusion of free will, but are bound by the game's code. This also changes the meaning of life and death. Death might not be an end, but simply the program shutting down. Could there be a new game pluses? Could concepts like reincarnation be a reality? Then there's the most terrifying ethical question. If we are a simulation, our consciousness might not be real, but it feels real. We feel joy, pain, and love. If we are just code, our creators have programmed beings that can genuinely suffer. This would make our creators either incredibly cruel or completely indifferent to the suffering they have created. It redefines our place in the cosmos from children of the universe to characters in a story. But before you have a full-blown existential crisis, let's look at the other side. The biggest counter-argument is simple. There is zero direct evidence. All the so-called evidence can be explained by existing physics and neuroscience. Many physicists argue that the laws of our universe, especially in quantum mechanics, are messy, probabilistic, and not easily computed. Simulating this level of complexity might be fundamentally impossible, even for a super advanced civilization. Then there's Occam's razor, the idea that the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. What's simpler? That the universe just is? Or that an entire other universe exists on top of ours, just to simulate us? The hypothesis is also unfalsifiable. There's no experiment we can run that could ever definitively prove it wrong. Any lack of evidence can be explained away by saying, the simulators are just too good. This makes it more philosophy than science. So, are we living inside the Matrix? Maybe yes, maybe no. The truth is, we don't know, and we may never know. But maybe the question isn't, is this real? Maybe the better question is, does it matter? Our love, our joy, our suffering, these things are real to us, regardless of the ultimate nature of reality. But one thing is certain, if this is a simulation, whoever is running it just pressed play on your life. And the question is, what will you do with the time you have? So what do you think? Are we living in a computer program? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this existential journey, subscribe to Cappy Brain for more videos that question everything. Thanks for watching! The argument suggests that any civilization that survives long enough will create these ancestor simulations. to study their history, to understand their origins, or perhaps just for entertainment. If these simulations are conscious, then the vast majority of conscious experiences would be happening inside computers. You are one of those minds, so the odds are you're one of the simulated ones. And who's to say our simulators aren't themselves in a simulation? Simulations would need to be efficient. They would only render what is being observed. This sounds eerily similar to quantum mechanics, where particles don't have definite properties until we measure them. Is reality waiting for a player to look at it before it decides to load the assets? If this is all a game, what is the objective? Is it to achieve happiness? To learn something specific? To be a good person? Or are we just a data point in a vast scientific experiment? Perhaps the purpose is simply to become self-aware, to ask the question, am I in a simulation? Another counter-argument is the sheer hubris of the idea. We've just invented computers, so now we assume the universe is a computer. In the past, we've assumed the universe was made of water, or that it was a giant clockwork mechanism. The simulation hypothesis might just be the latest version of us projecting our own technology onto the cosmos. In the end, whether real or simulated, this moment is all we have. If you could prove it was a simulation, would you try to break out? Would you use cheat codes? Or would you continue to play the game as it was intended? Your move, player 1. This idea of reality on demand would save an incredible amount of computational energy. It implies that the unobserved universe might not exist in a concrete state at all. If it is a simulation, can our lives be saved and reloaded? This would fundamentally change our understanding of consequence and regret. A major physical objection is the computational cost. A computer that simulates a universe would have to be more complex than the universe itself. Unless the simulation is taking shortcuts. It might not be simulating every atom in the galaxy. It only needs to simulate what's in our render distance. Ultimately, the debate is often seen as a philosophical exercise rather than a scientific one. The meaning we create within the system is what truly matters. A good life is a good life, whether it is lived in base reality or the most sophisticated simulation. If you could know the truth for certain, would you want to? Or is some knowledge too dangerous to have? The simulation argument is a mirror. It reflects our hopes about immortality, our fears about meaninglessness, and our obsession with technology. Some have even searched for the source code of the universe in the laws of physics. The fine-tuning of the universe's constants is seen by some as evidence of a deliberate design, as if someone set the difficulty level just right for us to exist. The counter to this is the anthropic principle. It's not that the universe is fine-tuned for us, it's that we could only exist in a universe that had these specific tunings. Of course we observe these values. If they were any different, we wouldn't be here to observe them. So the argument can always be countered. It remains in the realm of speculation. But what if we decided to act as it were a simulation? Would it encourage us to be more adventurous? To explore the boundaries of the game? Would it make us treat others better, seeing them as fellow players instead of NPCs? Could it even make us less afraid of death, seeing it as the end of a level rather than the end of everything? Or would it lead to nihilism, a feeling that nothing matters? If there are no real consequences, why not do whatever you want? But the consequences feel real to us. The pain and joy we cause are part of our experience. Perhaps the best way to win the game is to live a good and meaningful life, regardless of the rules. This has been a fun thought experiment. It reminds us that we still know very little about the true nature of reality, and that it's okay to ask big, strange, and wonderful questions, because the search for answers is what makes the game worth playing. The sheer amount of information needed to track every quantum particle in the universe is astronomical. Some calculations suggest that a computer capable of this would have to be larger than the universe itself. Could the laws of physics change over time, like software updates? Physicists have looked for evidence of the simulation, such as the universe's grid showing a preferred direction, but have found nothing. So for now, the hypothesis remains a fascinating what if. It's a powerful tool for thinking about the nature of reality, even if it's not literally true. It encourages us to be curious, to question our assumptions, and to never stop exploring the incredible universe we find ourselves in. The conversation doesn't end here. Tell us your favorite argument for or against the theory. If this video made you think, like, and share it to blow someone else's mind. And for more mind-bending topics, check out these other videos from CappyBrain. Until next time, stay curious and try not to glitch. The hypothesis forces us to make a choice, to accept reality as it appears, or to dare to peek behind the